I'm finally going to do a video about how much money this house in Puerto Rico is making. If you're interested in having an Airbnb, a vacation rental in Puerto Rico, or really anywhere on the planet for that matter, I'm going to tell you guys how much money this property has made in the first 6 months. I'm going to go back a little bit because there's people who've been following me through buying the house, through the remodel of the house, and finally getting it on the rental market and making a little bit of money with it. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to tell you guys how much I paid for the house. I'm going to tell you how much the remodel cost. I'm going to tell you how much it costs to furnish an Airbnb from scratch. And then finally, I'm going to tell you how much money this thing is actually making me. So if those things are interesting to you, you're going to love this video. We're going to go over all of it right now.
Shut up and sit down.
Okay, for those of you who may be new here, this is the Retire Mentality channel. This is a place where I want to change your mentality, not only about retirement, but how you think about money, investing, and living the life that you want to live instead of having to be chained to a desk or have a job. We talk about early retirement. So if those things are interesting to you, you're in the right spot. Thank you for coming by. Like I said, in this video, I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. I'm going to tell you about when I bought the property and get you up to speed of how we got to here. I'm going to kind of go through that quickly because I have videos on all those things. I have videos on when we bought the property. I have videos that chronicle the remodel process. I have videos, I don't remember if I did a video about how much it costs to furnish this thing top to bottom. I think I did, but if I don't, leave me a comment down below and I will get that video made if you're interested in the cost to furnish an Airbnb when it's a blank slate, which is what this house was, because this house had been empty for several years before I bought it. I think since Hurricane Maria, this house had been empty. So we had a lot to do work-wise in here, so I'm going to tell you all about it. To start at the beginning, we bought the house in February of what year was it? 2020, right before the coronavirus started. So we bought the house, like I said, in February. Coronavirus started like in March. And so we had got a crew in here and we demoed a bunch of stuff. And then COVID happened and like Puerto Rico especially locked down hard. So my crew was locked down. People weren't allowed to leave their houses. You could only leave your house depending on the last number of your license plate, like even numbers were allowed to be on the road some days of the week and odd numbers the other days of the week. It was a mess. So on top of people not working, the supply chain problems that you guys had everywhere on the planet, they were really bad here because this is an island. Things have to come and go off of this island. So the remodel process was a nightmare. I thought it would take about 4 or 5 months to get this remodel done. And it took much, much longer. But so what did we pay for the house? We paid $135,000 for the house. Like I said, it had been sitting empty since the hurricanes happened back in 2017. So for 2 or 3 years, this house sat empty. And so not only did we have to fix all the problems, roofs and leaks, broken windows and things like that from being vacant for a couple of years, we also had to reconfigure a couple things to make it, this house was built, I think, in the 60s. So we had to fix a little bit of flow through the house to make it more conducive to a vacation rental. We redid the bathrooms top to bottom, stripped off the old blue and yellow tile walls and blue bathtubs and yellow toilets. The walls were all tiled, the tub, the toilet, and the sink in one bathroom were all blue, and in the other bathroom, they were all yellow. It was just 1960s glory. If you want to buy a house in Puerto Rico, I've got a whole series of videos on how to buy a house in Puerto Rico. I've got a video about when we bought this. You can go back and look at that video and see what everything looked like. And like I said, you can follow through. I've got it set up as a playlist if you want to see the remodel process. So that because if you're thinking about buying something in Puerto Rico that you want to remodel to save some money, is not for the faint of heart. Just buying a house in Puerto Rico is not for the faint of heart. But going through the remodel process, I was living in St. Thomas, so I'm only 40 miles away, but you got to hop on a plane and get over here and rent a car. So it was challenging. So you can watch that to see what to expect if you're thinking about remodeling a house. So I won't go any farther into what the remodel process was. But the cost of the remodel was about $70,000. So we're $135,000 into the house plus $70,000 into the remodel. So just to get the house ready was about just over $200,000. We'll call it $205,000. I'll just mention here also, I get a lot of questions. A couple of the questions I get most often is, one, would you do it again? Would you buy a house and remodel it? And the answer is like, I don't know. I'm sort of 50-50 on whether I would do another remodel in Puerto Rico. I would definitely want to be here or be here more than I was for this one. And the other question I get a lot is about financing a property in Puerto Rico. I did not finance this property. I paid cash for it. I would say if you have equity in the States that you could pull out of something to buy something in Puerto Rico, I would suggest doing that, because I haven't heard one story of anybody who got a loan in Puerto Rico that said it was just easy and it was no problem. It's painful. It takes forever. They just wear you down, asking for paperwork and paperwork and paperwork are the stories that I've heard. I didn't actually do it, so I have no advice on getting a loan in Puerto Rico. I can't help you there. And then as far as how much it costs to furnish this property in Puerto Rico, we had more issues with that as well, trying to get furniture delivered, trying to get things picked up in the rental car. I made the beds for the bed frames for the bedrooms. I've got a video on that. Also, I'll link to that here. That's a good video. A lot of people like that video. I make platform beds, and then they are solid on the bottom, so you can't lose stuff underneath there. You don't have dust bunnies under the bed. So that's a little pro tip for your vacation rentals is like hotels. You notice in hotels they do it now too, where you can't lose things under the bed. I do that in my rental properties, and I make the beds out of 2x4s and 2x12s, and they're super solid. You can't break them. So as far as the cost to furnish it, like I say, I'm not going to go into every single room, but it was about $14,000 soup to nuts. That's your dishes, your linens, the artwork on the walls, the couches, the coffee tables, televisions, outdoor furniture. I've got some outdoor furniture out there too. So about 14,000. So that puts us 135 to buy the house, 70 for the remodel. That's 205 plus 15, we'll call it, for furnishing it. So I'm 225 into the house. We are still trying to get a pool put in back here. Leave me a comment if you know a pool builder in Puerto Rico. It's been over 2 years now. I've had half a dozen pool guys over here that have given me a quote and then disappeared, or their prices have tripled, and I know things have gotten more expensive, but we're trying to figure out this pool thing. It's been horrible. It's been impossible. So hopefully soon we'll have a pool put out here, and that should increase how much money this property makes as well. So how much money does the property make? Let's get into that. Let's talk about our nightly rate. I have a property management company that I use to manage the property. So let's get into that now. Okay, so let's do a drum roll. I'll insert a drum roll noise here. How much money? First, let me say this. I put in the title of the video how much money my Airbnb made in 6 months, but that's just a total out and out lie. I haven't had this rented for 6 months yet. It's only been about 4 months, but I'm here in Puerto Rico and I don't know if I'll be back here in 2 months. So I wanted to do the video in the house. And how much money did my property make in 4 months? Just doesn't have the same ring to it. So this is the numbers we're going to actually go over are for 4 months of actually rental income. It took me 2 years to do the remodel. So you could say how much money I made in 2 years and 4 months or 6 months or whatever you want. But 4 months from the day of my first rental until today, that's how much I'm going to tell you what we've made on the house. Okay, give me the drum roll again. The house made $14,227 in 4 months. So, like I said, I do have a property management company that manages this property. I pay them about 20%. So that $14,000 is my net, not the gross that the property has done. After I pay the management, it's the gross minus the cleaning fees and whatnot, and the fees I pay to the management company. So I have personally made $14,272 in 4 months. That number beats my expectations by a little bit. If we extrapolate that out, and I did $14,227 for the next 4 months and the next 4 months over a year, and I've made $45,000 on this house. That's better than what I expected it to do for the first year. It's not what I hope this house will do 2 or 3 years down the road once we get established. So yeah, this thing is doing really good. The property management company actually suggested a higher price per night than what I thought I could get for this house. So we're getting $350 a night. We've been booked pretty solid we started renting March 25th, I think was our first booking. And today is August the 2nd or 3rd, I believe, the 3rd, because I think I'm leaving tomorrow on the 4th. So we've done pretty well as far as bookings, as far as staying booked, and as far as our price per night. We've been getting a few complaints on our cleaning. So I don't have a 5-star rating on this, and so that's driving me a little bit crazy. So we're getting on our management company a little bit on that. We want to get our reviews up and we want to get our standing up so that I feel like that can affect, there's quite a few vacation rentals in this neighborhood that I'm in. So, they're going to compare against each other. I'm one of the only ones without a pool. So I've got to get that pool put in back there so that I can stay competitive. We're probably going to pay, I just got a new quote yesterday. Before COVID, it was going to cost me about $22,000 to put a pool in back here. And now the best quote I've gotten, I got it yesterday. It was between $40,000 and $45,000, which it's painful, but I got to do it because I can't be the only house in here without a pool unless I want to be the cheapest house, and I don't want to do that. There's another house in here that has a pool and they're the cheapest house. And I'm telling you, they are never vacant. So there's something to that strategy also. There's to be rented 365 days a year. But I want to get a little bit more of a premium price. I'm offering a little bit more of a premium product, and I want to put a premium pool back there. So I don't want to skimp on the pool. As far as what my projections were for the house, you can run the numbers, you can crunch the numbers, you can run projections and do spreadsheets and look at the data on AirDNA and calculate until you're blue in the face. But it's all just speculation until you actually get the thing put on the internet and you start getting people in the house to rent the property. If you follow the channel, I also have rental properties in Florida and that I've been living in St. Thomas. So I've been self-managing all my properties in Florida for the past 3 years while I've lived in St. Thomas. But I had owned those properties in Florida for 5 to 8 years before we left Florida. So I already had the cleaners in place and my handyman in place and my systems in place. And to try to start from scratch here in Puerto Rico, where my wife has been working, so she can't always be contacted during the day because she's a school teacher. So I don't speak Spanish very well at all. So it was just, I can't call plumbers in the middle of the day if there's a problem. I can't field all the questions myself in Spanish. So the only way we could really do this was to hire a management company here in Puerto Rico. So if you want me to do a video specifically about the pros and cons from what I've learned having a management company versus self-managing, and self-managing when I was local and self-managing from a far distance, leave me a comment down below. I'll take this out and make its own video out of this topic. I think it's an important topic, but you have to tell me if you're interested in it. So leave me a comment down below if you're interested. And by the way, if you've gotten any value out of this video so far, give me a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, consider doing that as well. And I'm going to get into my expenses now. I'm not going to go too far into the weeds. I'm not going to talk about every time I had to get a plumber over here to fix a toilet, or, if the dryer breaks or something like that, because your toilet might break way more than my toilet, or your toilet may never break. So those kind of expenses are irrelevant. I'll just go over what my fixed costs are. I'm going to look at my notes here for the expenses, but I'll give you an idea of what my fixed costs are for this property. Okay, like I said, I don't have a mortgage on the property, so my mortgage is zero, but I do pay taxes and insurance. My taxes are about $1,000 per year, and my insurance, it's insured as a short-term rental with liability coverage, and that costs me about $1,500 a year. Both those numbers are way less expensive than my houses in Florida. My house in Florida, it's not even insured as a short-term rental. My personal house in Florida, my insurance just went up to $6,000 a year, and my taxes are close to $3,000. So I'm about $9,000 a year just for taxes and insurance in one of my houses in Florida. So we're only at $2,500 for this house. So that's way cheaper. My power bill has been running about $300 a month. That's been fully rented. I've got mini splits in all the bedrooms and the living room where I'm sitting now. So I've got 5 mini splits in here. Power runs me about $300 a month. My water bill, the minimum water bill for this area is $26 a month, and that's usually what my water bill is. My Wi-Fi is $47 a month. My trash is $30 a month, and my yard maintenance, I have a guy that comes and cuts the grass. That's $70 a month. That is a total of just $711 a month. So $700 a month for my fixed costs for this house. So if you average out my income of the $14,000 and change over the 4 months, I'm netting in my pocket, after I pay the management company, about $3,568 per month. And then you subtract out the $711 in fixed expenses. And that is a profit to me of $2,857 per month. So if I average $2,857 a month over 12 months, I would make about $34,000 a year from this house. Pretty good, considering I'm $225,000 into the house. That's, I didn't calculate that out, but that's about, I don't know, what's that, 13, 14% return. That's pretty good. I do hope that's for year one, and that's projecting out that it's going to keep doing as well as it is, as it has. And I don't know if that's going to be the case because we don't have very much on the books going forward from here. So maybe 14,000 is all I make for the whole year. Who knows? I've only got 1 or 2 more weeks booked, one in October and one in December. Hopefully more people will start to book as we continue into the future, but nobody knows. So I have higher expectations in the future. So that's it. There's all my cards on the table. Just want you guys, now you know how much I paid for it, how much I spent on the remodel, how much I spent to furnish it, and how much I actually make and what my fixed expenses are. I hope that's what you were looking for in this video. If it is, I hope you'll again give me a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that. I do have a ton of content on buying properties in Puerto Rico and how this remodel works. So go check out my other videos on this channel. And I'll put a video here specifically if you're interested in buying a house in Puerto Rico. Go watch this video. It's where you kind of start looking and kind of what the beginning process is to buy something in Puerto Rico and how it works. And then you can go from there and see my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.